good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bright Spots. I cannot believe that this is the last episode in January. We've got a whole month already gone in 2021. If this is your first time tuning in, this is an interactive show, and those of you that are returning, put your comments below in the comments section. Please let us know that you're here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And if it's your first time, let us know what brought you here today. We'd love to know how you heard about Bright Spots, and we'd love to have you come back each and every week on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock for another episode. I'm really excited about our guest tonight. As many of you know, I spent most of my career in elder care and working with individuals with Alzheimer's and dementia. And our guest tonight is an expert in this field. And I'm really excited that she's joining us. She is originally from Wheeling, lives in the Wheeling area, but she is spending her time in Florida right now. And I can't say that I blame her, since it is cold up here and it is certainly not cold in Florida. The weather looks absolutely beautiful there. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our guest. Lori McGlumphy she has Longevity Choices for You, and it is a company that she created with health and wellness in mind. Lori is she is a facilitator of the Alzheimer and Dementia Caregiver Support Group in the Wheeling area. She has years of education and experience from the Alzheimer's and the Lewy Body Dementia Association, and she feels that this education has been invaluable. Her family has also journeyed through many seasons of Alzheimer's and Lewy body disease. Ladies and gentlemen, please make a warm Bright Spots welcome for Lori McGlumphy. Hi, Lori.
Good evening. Thanks for having me, Lori.
Well, it is great to have you here in the Bright Spot studio. So, Lori, what does it mean to be a dementia facilitator? Is that what you call yourself? Consultant?
I'm a Dementia Care Consultant. And
so tell our listeners what it means, what that means. What exactly is that?
Well, it's so relevant and so sought out right now, especially with COVID-19. This pandemic has really driven caregivers to keep their loved ones more in their homes, and them making their own way through this disease, caring for their loved ones who have dementia of any type. And so I can provide caregivers with as much knowledge, resources, and assistance as I can, whether they're staying in their homes or whether they're in assisted or memory care units. People are scared, especially when someone gets the diagnosis of dementia. People don't know what to do, how to respond, where to turn for resources. And I know with our family, when we were given the diagnosis of Lewy body dementia, many people had never even heard of it. And as I started looking for resources for the family of where to go and where to just pull information and get any kind of assistance that we could for the family, it was difficult. I started the first Lewy body dementia caregiver support group in Wheeling, and there was nothing like it between Cleveland, Ohio, clear up until Pennsylvania. And so we were the first one in West Virginia to have that caregiver support group. So this can help anyone involved in managing this disease. Instead of the disease managing them, I try to help assess their needs, give guidance and support on daily care, interaction, how to interact with someone with dementia, the different stages, as they say. And this is real and practical management, and it's invaluable to the families who often feel overwhelmed and overcome with this disease.
So with I think that you have feedback on that side, Lori. Do you have?
I don't have feedback, no.
Okay. It sounds like there's a little bit of an echo. So folks, we apologize if you're hearing that on your end. So there are a lot of people that are experiencing dementia and really don't feel that there's anywhere to turn, that no one understands what they're going through. How do they find out about a support group, and how are you doing that support group now with COVID-19? Have you transitioned that to an online platform, or how is that happening?
We have, or I did. I am doing all of my caregiver support group over Zoom, and anyone can get on the alz.org website, which is for Alzheimer's, and they can look up support groups in their area and by state. You can also get on lbda.org, which is the Lewy Body Dementia Association, and they also, you click on your state and it'll give where there are support groups in your area. And I actually have people from all over the United States on this Zoom now, as far as California to Upper New York, Florida, North Carolina. People need this information. And with the shutdown of so many facilities, it's hard for people to get information and the help they need. And there's so much isolation with the caregivers and their loved ones who are inflicted with this disease, that this isolation has caused them to be homebound so much now that this kind of information is just invaluable for them. I had a woman in a phone call, and she asked me, she said, you to me, you are my lifeline. She said, I could talk to you every day for insight and help on what I'm doing with my parent because I have no one else to turn to. And it's very true. And I hate to be that much in need, but I'm very thankful to be that much in need because, I just felt like this was a God-driven journey for me. And getting into this and then learning everything that I have and be able to go out and pay it back and give back to the community and all is, with speaking to different groups. I've spoken to pre-med students, doctors. I've spoken to colleges, just businesses that want to be aware.
So what did you do before you got into the dementia? And I'm guessing that having family who journeyed through dementia and Alzheimer's and Lewy body, that was what took you that direction. But what was your career path prior to that?
Oddly enough, no, not oddly. I say it was one of my biggest backgrounds. I was with Wendy's for 30 years and left Wendy's. We were a franchise and had 44 restaurants, and I left there in a high position, and I left there in 2008. And then I, just did some odd jobs here and there. And then I went back to school and I became an integrative nutrition health coach. So the health and wellness kind of goes hand in hand with the dementia aspects of this, because, we're finding out so much now about how a lot of these diseases are coming from the gut, like ADHD and autism and dementia and, so many are coming from, our environment and what we eat. It's not always genetic.
So something exciting happening as you're transitioning your practice in a different direction. Would you like to share with us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and it's not only transitioning to a different dimension, it is actually, I partnered with a colleague who is also a dementia expert and coach, and we have a combined 14 years of professional experience and knowledge. And but first and foremost, we're still caregivers, and we continue to be caregivers as we fight and honor those who are inflicted with the disease. So, and like I said before, we really pride ourselves on paying this forward. So we have started a company, and it is called Equipped, Empowered, and Enabled. And we're launching that now. And we want to ensure that caregivers and care partners are equipped with education and tools to be their best, to be empowered and strong to face dementia, and enabled to set up confidently to make a positive impact in those facing this disease. So we can't think of a better way to assist others than announcing this powerful training program that we've developed, and it's called Dementia Situational Awareness. And this educational tool will be directed towards our police and our first responders across the nation who have daily interactions with people with cognitive impairments. So the elements in this training will provide skills in dealing with situations that can arise and help everyone involved stay safe and calm.
And will this class be taught by Zoom, or are you planning to teach this class in person?
Well, unfortunately, COVID's dictating that we're going to be doing it online. And so we have the program put together and video that go along with it, and the written support that can be sent to different companies across the nation. And then we will provide the training over Zoom. And because this is driving a large need across our nation for education in daily dementia situations, we're positive it will be an asset to all those who come in contact, with this program through us.
So if someone is seeing this broadcast and they are a first responder or a policeman, a fireman, EMS, and they're interested in getting your program in their unit, how would they go about doing that? Where can they find information?
They can find information. I have it on my website. It's Longevity Choices for You, and it's the number 4. That's on the screen there. And we will also be contacting many, police, EMS, fire across the nation to let them know that this program is now going to be available.
Do you already have them signed up, or are you just starting that process?
We're in the middle of that process now.
Okay.
I had started something like this. It was definitely a lower version of what we're doing, at the scale that we're doing it now. And in March of 2020, and had reached out to the area entities, around Wheeling, Ohio area, and had a great response. And then COVID shut us down and we were unable to do any of the training. So I just thought, well, let's pull back, teamed with, a colleague of mine. And then we just have gone full bore, and this definitely comes from the heart.
That's wonderful. So Lori, while you're in Florida and not in Wheeling, are you holding meetings, or are you visiting folks in Florida? Are you continuing? I mean, knowing your personality and knowing that it's hard not to be involved with what you're passionate about, are you finding that there's a lot of snowbirds in Florida? Are you finding that there's a need for your services there?
Actually, I can't wait for the homes and assisted livings and all to open up here to me. I'm like a little girl at Christmas, because I know, just being down here and talking to people, I encountered someone the other day at the pool, and a couple minutes into the conversation, I knew that she had some kind of cognitive impairment going on. So we struck up a conversation, and I told her what I do, and she goes, "Oh," she said, "you might be my new best friend." Because she's scared. And I told her some things and about all the clinical trials that were going on, and it really kind of gave her mind some ease. And so just talking with a lot of the people down here, they too have shared my view of they can't wait for things to open up so that we can provide that. But I'm still doing phone calls. I'm still doing Zoom meetings. I'm still doing Zooms. My caregiver support group meets the first Wednesday of every month between 6 and 7 p.m. And I'm also, taking on new clients as they need me. They can contact me and set up times, regardless of whether I'm talking to a family one time a month or once every week. People are getting the help that they need and the knowledge and the resources that I can help them with, to help them we don't want to be able to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already been invented. We just got to get the information and make people aware of all the information that is available to help them.
All right. Very done. Program. Thank you for Sherry. We're glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Sherry.
Lori, as there are folks watching this who may have a loved one that they think is experiencing some cognitive loss, what would your advice be to them? How can they support their loved one, their mom, their dad, their husband, their wife? What are some of the things that they can do to help them? What should their first thing be?
Get a correct diagnosis. I can't stress that enough. Having a correct diagnosis, and not just a diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's, or it needs to be specific. Is it Alzheimer's? Not just dementia. Dementia is the umbrella, and then all the other dementias fall under it, and like Alzheimer's and Lewy body. But having that correct diagnosis is paramount to their treatment and their care and how they're going to work through this disease, because if you don't know anything about Lewy body dementia, it is one of the more horrific of the two dementias. And many of these patients, they have more autonomic issues, like not being able to regulate their temperature or their blood pressure, and they have REM sleep disorder where they're acting out their dreams. But more importantly, there's so many medications they can't take, and it can have an overall detrimental impact, like Haldol. If they were, having an episode and they got taken to the ER or anything, and they were given Haldol, it could, be detrimental to them. They can't tolerate some of those, any of the antipsychotics. So just having a dementia diagnosis is not good enough. As awareness gets out there, doctors are doing an amazing job at giving better diagnosis and helping the families and putting them in the right direction. So I applaud all the doctors that, are really doing that service for their patients.
Absolutely. I know here locally, we used to have a dementia-trained physician. Dr. Fausto Lazo actually was trained at WVU as a dementia practitioner. He has since retired. Are there other physicians here locally that are dementia practitioners that you're aware of?
There's not a lot in the Wheeling tri-state area. I'm not sure about up north. I know that there are UPMC, there are at WVU. I just had, a doctor, scientist from WVU as a guest speaker on my caregiver support group the beginning of this month, and his information was great. And so there is not, but more doctors, like I said, as they're becoming aware, there's more of a stream coming in with WVU moving into the area. And so I would hope and pray that we have, some geriatric specialists come into our area. That would be wonderful for our area, especially with the demographics. But other, resources, as I talk with families, I tell them, have a plan A and a plan B. It was something that I think every family doesn't think about. Just like if you would hand the phone to your loved one and say, what if I fall down the steps, or what if I had a heart attack? Call 911, and you hand them the phone and they can't call 911. And it's such a wake-up call to that family. They're like, what do you mean? Everybody knows how to call 911. Well, in a dementia state, you really may not. And so things like that, so that you can prepare and have like life alert or medical ID bracelets. Those things are just, high up on the list, and just making not only, the person with dementia go through the disease easier, but more importantly for that caregiver to take some of that stress off of them and to relieve some of their burden and ease their minds.
So our guest this evening is Lori McGlumphy, and she's sharing with us some of the information related to individuals struggling with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Lewy body dementia. And if you're interested in learning more, you can visit her at Longevity Choices, the number 4U, and that is on Facebook. And Lori, if they're interested in signing up for the support group, can they do that at your website here on Facebook, or do they need to do that alz.org?
No, they can actually go. There's another Facebook page, and it's Alzheimer's and Dementia Caregiver Support Group, and that also is on Facebook. And they can inbox me, and I post the information with the Zoom info every month so that anyone can join and jump on. Many people have contacted me through there also, and I do a lot of phone consultations with guests also through there.
Okay, and it is the first Wednesday of every month?
It is from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now I have to add that since we're nationwide.
That's right. That's right. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners that we maybe haven't talked about?
I don't think so. I think I just want to encourage people to reach out and get those resources, because so many people aren't aware of it, and it really can make your life easier and relieve some of that burden that you have, and that's our goal. So that's why I try to bring awareness and talk to as many families and caregivers as I can. And we're having more early onset dementia than ever before that I'm hearing about. I spoke with a group and I asked everyone, I said, why me? Why did you pick me to come and speak? And they told me that they're having more people come into their facility in their 40s and 50s than ever before. So we need to really, be knowledgeable and try to stave this off as long as we can.
Do you have an idea why we're seeing so many more people in their 40s and 50s with early onset dementia?
I think there's a lot of ideas. Some personal opinions is we're getting better at diagnosing. So I think for whatever reason, whether someone had undergone anesthesia lately and they have some dementia symptoms, excuse me. But we are getting better at diagnosis. So that diagnosis is coming through faster and easier. I think that isolation has some to do with it. I think genetics has some to do with it. I think what food we eat, not exercising, being very stagnant in our diet and exercising. Vitamin D, I think, is great for people, and just doing things to keep your mind busy. And with COVID, I know that's even more of an issue now than ever before. I never used to watch TV, and all of a sudden at 9 p.m. I'm turning on the TV every night and watching Netflix. I told my husband and I looked at each other today, and I was like, what are we doing? Like, we've never done this before. And all of a sudden it's an issue in our house. And I was like, oh, we got to get out of here. And a little bit of TV is fine, but we really have to keep our minds busy and healthy. And that comes from everywhere, from what supplements you're taking to what we're eating to how we're exercising. And I think it has a big impact.
I remember conversations that you and I had. It's been years ago, but you were at that time, I don't know if you were giving a talk, but you were talking about a healthy gut and how a healthy gut really has a lot to do with everything else in our body, from aches and pains to what's going on in our brain. Are you still doing that, or do you still counsel people about that?
I do, because it all kind of goes hand in hand. Like I said, when I started the health and wellness journey, dementia just kind of fell right in place with it, because it is all intertwined. You look back to when we were young, you didn't hear of Alzheimer's and dementia much. You might hear of someone who had, a diagnosis of senility or something to that effect. you didn't hear about it, and autism. And there are so many things that I think our Western world diet has been not good for us, and things really took a turn when everybody started going, it was everything sugar-free and diet and low fat. There's some good fats that are very good for you, and especially for your brain. And it's all in how we eat and what we do with that. So if you kind of stick to a Mediterranean diet, it really is more helpful than harmful to your body.
Excellent. So if you're looking for more information about Lori McGlumphy and the programs that she has talked about this evening, Longevity Choices, the number 4U on Facebook. And also, if you'd like to sign up for the support group or talk to Lori about someone in your life, or perhaps concerns for yourself, Alzheimer's and Dementia Caregiver Support Group, and that also is on Facebook. Lori, thank you so much for joining us from beautiful Florida. And I will say I'm just a little jealous about the story. Yeah, while I was by the pool. It's going to be a while before we get to be by the pool here in Ohio, right? Or West Virginia. So enjoy your time there in Florida, and we look forward to when you're back here in the Wheeling area. And please keep us posted on what's happening with your new program. Would love to maybe interview some of the first responders after they go through your training, just to kind of give us an idea of what they thought. And we can tag that onto this so that it can all be in one place.
Well, I thank you, and I thank you for the work you're doing too, because bringing this bright spot into the area, I mean, you really just are a shining star. So appreciate you and what you do.
Thanks, Lori. God bless you. Work with you soon.
You too.
Well, folks, that concludes another wonderful episode with a fabulous guest here on Bright Spots. I hope you'll join us next week. Our guest next week is Nancy Haynes of Redecorate in the Center Market of Wheeling. And I visited her shop this week on Monday, took some pictures. I can't wait to share with you some of the exciting things that she has in her shop. And just for you to hear her story, what a delightful lady. So, folks, please plan on joining us next week at 7 o'clock right here on Bright Spots. I'll be here, and I hope you are too. God bless you. Have a great week. See you next week.